And I've tried to love other things, but words and poetry, it's the only thing that I can come back to.
As Khan Sahib says, the most transcendent poetry is by definition political.
But remember, the beauty of poetry is in the details.
Fine poetry is the music of mathematics.
For the truest poetry is the most fading, and lovers are given to poetry.
I am proud to say my poetry is only understood by that minority which is aware.
I mean, imagine how much incredible poetry is written in that.
I should say that one man's poetry is another man's poison.
I think maybe the poetry is a substitute for sex.
I think poetry is essential in the modern battlefield.
In fact, when poetry is combined with ill-groomed hair and eccentric dress, it's generally fatal.
Poetry is the possibility of language.
Mallarmé said that poetry is the language of a state of crisis.
Man, poetry is my thing.
Miss Jenny, the time of poetry is over.
90% of the world's poetry is about love.
No offense, poetry is its own worst enemy.
Oh, truly, for the truest poetry is the most feigning, and lovers are given to poetry. And what they do swear in poetry may be said as lovers, they do feign.
One of the greatest advances in modern poetry is the elimination of cleric.
People who haven't labored in this way don't understand that real poetry is neither easy nor easily produced.
Perhaps poetry is more important than politics.
Plato says poetry is nearer to truth than history.
Poetry is a young man's calling.
Poetry is about saying something from your heart.
Poetry is all about expressing yourself.
Poetry is food for the soul.
Your poetry is sour and your music is worse.
Poetry is just harder than I thought.
Poetry is not an expression of emotion, but an escape from emotion.
Poetry is power.
Poetry is the soundtrack of our lives, okay?
Poetry is the voice of the earth, so it's all earth work.
Poetry is verbal math. True poetry is for the listener.
Very strange hole indeed, and maybe poetry is just the thing we need when the hour seems dark.
Poetry is, but I recognize it when I hear it.
You know, I wrote her a poem because, poetry is really the only way I can truly express myself.
Poetry is one thing that you guys can all use an extra big dose of.